We are back. Hello again, everybody. It's the Inside Blitz, week number 14 in the National Football League. I'm Ted, he's Ron, and Chris is somewhere out in Vegas. Might join us soon, hopefully. Ron, how was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, Thanksgiving was great. Having our daughter and son-in-law in, plus other relatives on my wife's family. It's all great when you get to be with the family, and then saw my sister's family the next day out in the Palm Desert area. So
Nice.
We're good.
Good. I hope everybody else had a good turkey day out there. We know some teams that did and a few that didn't. In the meantime, it was a strange Thanksgiving after the next morning after for me. We'll tell a brief story here. The Rams waived kicker Josh Carty on Friday morning, right after Thanksgiving, and about an hour after he got waived, he called me of all people, and we spoke for over a half hour. And it was fascinating. I won't go into that because that's a private conversation. But at the same time, I'm just wondering your thoughts on how they did that. And he mentioned to me, and he says, I don't know what's going to happen over the weekend, but I could be brought back on Monday if nobody picks me up on waivers. And they didn't, and the Rams re-signed him for the practice squad. So what are your thoughts on that overall?
Well, I haven't kept as much track as you have in terms of who's kicking off for them, because even while his field goal accuracy and his trajectory wasn't as strong as the Rams would like it, and he was missing too many kicks,
right,
he was being praised for his knuckleball kickoffs and what he was doing to give the Rams an edge in field position. So I don't know. And I take it, obviously, he wasn't kicking off the last week or two. So how has that changed? How has field position changed? Is it something that for the playoffs, a team might want two kickers?
Yeah, you know what? It's going to be interesting to see if they make that kind of a decision. There's Josh there in front of his locker when I interviewed him several weeks back. He is a really dedicated guy to the way his practice, his ethics are. When it comes to making sure he gets every little piece of the kicking game from all the new rules standpoint. Remember the interview I did earlier in the year? I don't know if you caught that. How he described how he practices, and he really was one of the better guys at perfecting the new rules and how he kicked it. So I think it was the punter who's doing it the last few weeks, and the new guy Mavis is not. That's a whole new thing for him. So that's not something you're just going to show up and say, okay, we'll kick it to this yard line, right?
Mm-hmm. No, it takes lots of practice to do it this way. And, the NFL is committed for the long run to have this stratomatic kind of thing going on. So you don't need guys to kick it deep in the end zone anymore. So, but, for a guy like Carty, we hear it every week. There's 3 tryouts here. There's 2 tryouts here, all across the league. And in the offseason, the same thing. They're going to be bringing people in left and right. They're going to be bringing in rookie kickers, mostly undrafted rookie kickers. Unfortunately, it's a tough business out there, and you're going to be competing against somebody each and every tryout, each and every week.
Yep. And I was at the Chargers-Raiders game, which was more like an extreme home game for Las Vegas, of course. It had to be 70-30 as far as Raider fans in the building. It was unbelievable. And that's just the way it's going to be. More Raiders fans in LA than anywhere else, and that's including their new home city of Las Vegas. But your thoughts on the Chargers and moving forward, what they have to do? Justin Herbert had a broken bone in his left hand. Fortunately, it was his offhand, right? And that makes it so he had surgery on Monday. Now there is in a cast. The question is, can he play and just take the snaps, hand off? It's going to be interesting to see if he can play on Monday night against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, it's a new wrinkle, a new variable that is very unfortunate at this time of the year, because they're fighting with so many teams for the elusive wild card playoff spot.
Oh, yeah.
If we say that Denver, because of the way the schedule matches up and the Chargers are going to have to go on the road a couple of times, they have a pretty tough schedule moving forward. if we factor all that in and say they're not in contention for the NFC West divisional lead, they've got to work on Jacksonville and Indianapolis, and now Houston's in it and Buffalo's in it. Probably not. It's probably only one team, Pittsburgh or Baltimore. But you worry about all those different things, and you're doing it with a quarterback who now is going to be compromised in terms of where he takes snaps, how much he wants to get hit, because defenders, it's like somebody who fumbles. If you're perceived or typecast as a fumbler, they're going to go right after your arm. If your left arm is hurt, they're going to go right after your left arm. I mean, that's just the way football is. It's a brutal sport. So is it going to be two-step drops? Is it going to be get the ball out quick? Does that mean no more long routes? Does that mean Philadelphia gets to pinch the field and put 7, 8, 9 in the box because Herbert's not going to take time to throw? It creates a lot of unfortunate issues in a very important and possibly toss-up game on Monday night.
Yeah, exactly. And here's a picture of Herbert with his left hand covered by a giant glove and a lot of protection. They put a temporary cast on it for the last game, and now he has a permanent cast on it after surgery. So that's a big TBD. In the meantime, I was able to get in a couple of questions with Herbert after the game on Sunday. And, it's both regards to protecting the ball after the snap, and can he take the snap cleanly, and also the job that his running backs are doing. So let's hear from Justin Herbert.
With what you did today with the injury, is the biggest issue just protecting the ball after this, that you're able to do that at full strength more than anything?
I think it's part of it for sure. Doing my job to be able to hand the ball off and distribute the ball in a way that, protects our team and doesn't put them in a position of danger. I think the running backs did a great job adjusting as well today, where we had a lot of plays under center, but we talked about going from pistol and the gun.
Right.
And so being able to practice those all week and then take them, into a game in a situation where we really haven't practiced, I thought that was really good.
How about your running backs? A few weeks ago, they weren't even on this active squad, and here they are looking like Pro Bowlers. I mean, it's been phenomenal, hasn't it?
Yeah, they're really fun to play with. Those two guys have done such a great job this year, and to have J-Pat back out there, I'm really happy for both those guys because they work really hard, week in and week out, and to see them go have success like that today, it's really well earned.
So that's Justin Herbert. And how about the running backs, Ron? This is what Harbaugh needs and wants, right? I mean, he's about a running game first, and now he's down to his third and fourth string running backs because his top two guys are out for the year, and it's almost like no change at all.
Yeah, I mean, the yards per carry could be a little higher, and obviously a healthy Hampton is the guy they expected to have as a 3-down back, more of a pass-catching threat than Vidal is, right now, because that's not something he's necessarily used to, especially at this level. But again, we go back to the draft, and these last two drafts have set the stage so that, okay, we have an area that's a problem. I mean, we have more than one area because of the crucial injuries, the two tackles.
Yeah, that's
we're
the
talking
thing.
about 2 running backs. I mean, so many things are going on with this team, but they've carefully built this run game in a manner that complements the pass game and all the different additions. Bringing back Keenan Allen was huge. Having the second-year man, Ladd McConkey, huge. They brought in Trey Harris, who could stretch the field. He's still learning the ropes, but as a number 3 receiver, it's not bad to have him as a number 3 receiver. Yeah. So, and with Herbert's experience and accuracy, it's a much better wide receiver situation than other teams have. Without that situation, this would be this would be even more of a problem. Oh boy, I wish they were at full strength because this would be one hard team to beat.
Yeah, it's too bad. But I still think the biggest deal with the Chargers right now is the fact that they are able to run so effectively with an totally banged up and shorthanded offensive line.
And it's going to be interesting this week, again, against Philly, because we'll see relatively early in the game, first quarter,
Oh yeah.
what the drops are going to be like for Herbert. Because if I'm the defensive coordinator of Philly, I'm going to move closer and closer to the line of scrimmage if I see that he's not willing to stand in the pocket or not able to stand in the pocket, at least initially. I know Herbert's a tough guy because every single San Diego Charger, LA Charger quarterback in the history of the NFL has played with lacerated spleens and broken noses. True. I mean,
they do have a history, don't they?
They sure do.
That's great. What about the Chargers defense right now, and where they stand as far as, are they playoff ready? They're reasonably healthy, and good time to be there. I spoke to two of their real key guys after this last game. We'll get to Daiyan Henley in a second. He leads the club in tackles, but overall, I think they're playing very well. The question is, who are they playing? I think, and here they go on a Monday night game against an offense with Philly that is just below average right now.
For decades, how a team performs via the pass, allowing pass completion percentage, was an indicator as whether or not you are a Super Bowl possibility or not a Super Bowl possibility. And it's worked 99% of the time in terms of identifying who makes the Super Bowl, not who makes the playoffs. You can make the playoffs with anything. Right now, the Chargers qualify. So they have a stat sheet. And, it's not great against the run. It's actually not bad in terms of rushing the quarterback. I know they've had injuries there too, but they have been able to get to quarterbacks. They could get to Hurts in this particular game, though they may have some trouble in the run game in this game, stopping Barkley in this particular game. And Hurts is generally accurate, but it shouldn't be a deal breaker defending the pass the way that they've done so far this year.
All right, so linebacker Daiyan Henley leads the team with 75 tackles this year. And, coming into the season, they were saying this guy looks like going to be an all-pro for the next several years. And he's turned out to be, as good as they wanted him to be. And he's one of my favorite people, the only L.A. native on the L.A. Chargers. And I got him after the game, talked about the win over the Raiders.
You got a little fun in the backfield there of the Raiders today, right? Gino had all your names memorized.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was just happy to be a part of it. When you got a four-man rush that we have up front, as good as they are, just to be able to get a little piece of that backfield is a blessing. So shout out them guys for doing all the dirty work up front, and then Coach Mentor gave me and DJ a shot to be in the backfield. And, when we got our chance, we did it.
Strange first half, but you guys have turned things around. Okay, we need to take care of biz now, right?
Yeah, 100%. This is the four-quarter game. We don't play just to win in the first quarter. We don't play to win in the second. We play to win in the fourth. And so for us, it didn't matter what happened in that first half. As soon as we got in the locker room, we wiped it, and it was time to get up on them and finish the game.
You got an extra day this week, and it's a Monday nighter. How do you like being in the spotlight against the Super Bowl champs?
I mean, we got to respect each opponent, and then come game day, we got to do our best to win that game and make sure that it's not about what they did in the past, it's not about what we did in the past, it's about winning the game that's ahead of us.
Does it give you a little extra juice, though, with them coming in here?
100%. Any game is juice.
Okay,
what I will say, a Monday night primetime game is a lot of juice for us. And, we've been good on primetime, so we're trying to make sure we keep that streak alive.
Good.
There you go. So that's Daiyan Henley, and, he's probably the best personality on the team. He's a really interesting guy. I'm going to do a one-on-one with him soon about everything, including just his whole life. But one of the things that the Chargers have been, forget my opinion. What is your opinion on how they have been from sacking the quarterback this year? And let's get this right. Tuipulot is their leading sacker, and he has 10 on the season. That's not exactly chump change, right?
Oh, no, not at this point in the season. You're talking about almost one a game.
Yeah.
Almost quietly, this team has rushed the quarterback successfully these last few years. 47 in 2023, 46 last year. They're on pace right now for another 46 or so. So this is an upper echelon sacking teams. So they will cause problems to teams in 3rd and long.
Yep. I spoke to Tuipulot briefly after the game and the win over the Raiders. Here he is.
How good could your defense be, when it comes down to real crunch time down the stretch here?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody's seen what we could be. We had games where we've completely shut out offenses, and that's just what we're chasing. We chasing consistency, and
right.
That's what we're looking for.
Okay, Monday night, you're going to get a team pretty pissed off coming in here, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's a huge game for both of you when you think about it, right?
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's a great opportunity, and we're going to look forward to it,
Yeah, but play a team like that when they're the champs, too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They give you a little extra juice at all?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like it'll be fun, especially because Monday night, too,
Exactly.
It's always going to be some fun. The Juice, they're a great team. We're looking forward to it, and it'll be fun.
All right, enjoy it, man.
Anyway, so there's your leading sacker on the Chargers. And, it's funny when they got rid of Joey Bosa, it was sort of like, okay, we're turning things over a little bit. We got to rearrange how we're going to affect the attacking quarterback part of the D. And not bad, right?
Oh, no, not bad at all. I mean, they've improvised. They did have a couple of injuries on the front end. Luckily, they're pretty healthy right now on the back end, as I understand it, and that's where you want to be in crunch time.
One more Chargers, and this is a Ron request. He asked me a few weeks ago, the tight end Oronde Gadsden Jr. or the third, I don't know which one he is. But anyway, we remember his father, and we'll bring that up. You wanted me to talk to him. I spoke to Oronde Gadsden. He's been hurt the last few weeks, by the way. He's been playing hurt on and off. He had a really good middle of the schedule. I think it was through week 6 through 9. He was averaging like over 85 yards a game. So, that's outstanding. And now but he came back. He only had a few targets in this last game, but I was the biggest target afterwards because I grabbed him right in front of his locker.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the time.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good to meet you. And I want to ask you something because I covered your dad 100 years ago, right? And what did you learn from him? What did he teach you on the transition to come to this level?
Just being a professional, just overall, and the ins and outs. All the little stuff that's going to go on.
Right.
Whether how the game's going to go. How maybe you're involved in the plan. He knows a lot of stuff about all that, and he just really just professionalism and just I gotta be ready to go each and every day, each and every play. Like the dudes are gonna be running, dudes are playing for their salary, for their livelihood. So you gotta bring it every day.
How much of an advantage is that for you though to have somebody in your family to be able to give you that kind of profession?
Definitely a big advantage having him and all the people I've met, along the way.
Sure.
So like anyone else that even it doesn't even have to be if they played offense, it doesn't even have to be if they played in the game, even if they just coach
right.
that I met. So it's like even GMs. So
Sure.
It's a big thing, being able to talk to them.
What about the transition from college? What's that been like for you?
It's been good, but it hasn't been too eye opening because I think Fran Brown did a great job getting us ready. Especially on the physicality level, being ready, each and every play,
Sure.
and the way we practiced, it should be what we think is an easier practice than what we used to do in college. We used to go full go, at least 2 days, 3 days out the week.
Really?
We can't do that now. So
yeah, exactly.
We're going pads all the way up until Thursday in college. So it makes it a little different, a little easier now.
It used to be the opposite.
Yeah,
which is
I know.
Really weird. I bet your father told you a few of those stories, right?
Yeah, him with
3 a
Jimmy
days.
Johnson. Yeah.
Okay, so where are you guys at right now? How do you feel? Like you come off a bye, you took care of biz today, and now you get a little extra day, and then the Monday nighter against the Eagles. They're going to be pissed coming in.
Oh yeah, especially with them losing
Exactly.
the last 2 games. That's got nothing to do with us. We just got to play our game and do our stuff every single day, preparing for it.
Right.
They're just gonna be ready to play, but we got a lot to play for too. It's not
big time.
It's not like we're undefeated and we're like, we got such a lead on everybody. We still fighting to get in the playoffs. Just like they're fighting to stay in the playoffs.
How good can you guys be?
Oh, we could go to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
If we're playing our best, if we're got our best guys doing their best things each and every play, 75 plays, G-Roll says it best. You don't need. You just need one good play 75 times.
Okay.
Just bring it all each and every play.
Love it. The last thing is, everybody's talking about Herbert, but you're running backs. You got two guys coming off of the practice squad, and they look like they're Hall of Famers right now. I mean, how awesome is that?
I mean, I wish you guys could see it. What they do in practice, and how they are in the meeting room and all that. They're bringing it each and every day. Like I said, with my dad telling me when I came to the league, dudes fighting for their livelihood, dudes fighting for their salary, they fighting for their spot on the team. It's, like you said, they wasn't on the team before, so they fighting to stay on, and they want to keep this going longer and longer, just like everyone else does in this locker room.
Breath of fresh air, man. Good to meet you. Keep it going.
Yep, you too.
All right, there's Oronde Gadsden, and thanks, Rod, because it was really nice to actually. He was really good, and not only outspoken but personable, and that's refreshing.
Well, a number of words come to mind. I was writing them down.
Okay.
Obviously,
Taking notes.
The nepotism part and whatever,
Yeah.
it really helps prepare you mentally, not just physically. The nuances that he has that other people do not have. The transition is easier. How grounded his answers were and how he sounded there.
Yeah.
And I know it's not all just Gadsden, even though you know how much I touted him before the season and so on. I said, you got to get him, you got to get him. But Syracuse won 10 games with him last year. They won 3 this year.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that. Okay.
I just want to put that out there.
I wish you would have told me that before this, because I would have been all over him on that one. You're worth at least 6 games. Anyway, how players love to hear that too.
Yeah.
That's great. Anyway, that was fun. Good to talk to him. Let's get into, since we are the Thursday night football preferred pregame show, let's talk about tonight's game. And, you got Dallas at Detroit. Let's discuss just the fact what Dallas is doing now since the Micah trade. And everybody was saying, you know what? The Cowboys are in trouble. This is now for the long haul. Let's see what happens 2 years from now. Forget that. It was a couple of weeks from now. Things have changed. They brought in a few new bodies defensively, and they are playing great. And we already knew their offense was clicking. And just your thoughts overall on what's going on in Dallas.
Yeah, well, I thought that there would be short-term gains because they brought in a couple really good run defenders, and that's really changed things around a lot. I didn't think it would be this much of a short-term gain because there's still the issue of the secondary that is still below par.
Yeah,
I still worry about the long-term prognosis because you lost a really good player that impacts more than just the run game. But it's a step in the right direction. I mean, you're adding an all-pro type player to the team, and not all teams make trades or make draft choices that end up being all pros. Yeah. So it's a great start. It's rejuvenated them. You're right. The offense is something special. I mean, they have the luxury of having. We talked about T. Higgins and Jamar Chase in Cincinnati and some of the other combos. This is a combo as good as any in the NFL.
It really is.
Ferguson is good, and they're getting mileage out of the running game. Their offensive line has never been called below average. At times, it's been elite. It may not be elite anymore, but it's absolutely serviceable when you have an experienced, accurate quarterback. So they're in a playoff push now, and all of a sudden, we have a potential elimination game if things don't go right for the loser.
Yeah, and right now, the Lions are looking like they're not sure where they are at this stage. You'd like to have a lot more momentum going in. They're up and down every week. You get a little different look. Jared Goff, and I've mentioned this before, when his O-line is not playing totally up to par and they're not using their running game as well as I think they can at times, Jared's got the happy feet again back there. Like when he was early with the Rams, he gets uncomfortable quicker than a lot of guys because he's not that athletic, and that's showing more than he would like.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts with the Lions right now. And I know big Lion fans like Las Vegas Chris, of course, and others, are talking about the fact that, hey, here's Ben Johnson with a first place team, and now we miss him because we're 0 for 7 on our last 4th down calls and this and that. And so there's a lot of this fierceness and aggressiveness is saying we do it our way. We don't care about your analytics. These are our analytics. And, if I could go back to the point where, do you remember when Philadelphia first won the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
A bunch of years ago.
Nick
I can't
Foles.
remember their coach, but he moved on to another team. He's been fired. And he was ahead of his time in terms of going for it all the time. And then the next year it backfired. And that didn't work. And he was behind it. Why are you going for it? And so on and so forth. Somewhere in the middle is a sweet spot. It's not that you go for it all the time or you go for it 0 of the time. It's all situation specific. But I think there's some nuance, to use that word again, in what Detroit's doing that's not perfect. Now, they have some injuries too. They're not as key injuries as the Chargers or the 49ers or whatever, but they're nagging injuries to complementary players that they need their help. Brock Wright, the tight end, is out. They go to Tom Kennedy, the 3rd tight end, because their first tight end, Hawkinson, is out. That's getting a little too far down the depth chart for that particular position.
Right. Well, Amon-Ra St. Brown as well. I mean, that's a big loss.
That's a key move. And then, okay, so you compensate with your number 2 and 3 and 4 receivers, but then you have Khalif Raymond out. So their depth is being tested where they're going a little bit too deep in the roster. And that's caused a problem. We haven't seen a great defensive effort from the second. I personally think they're underachieving in the secondary. Okay. And I know that, Arnold is hurt and they had a couple of things going on. But even when he was well, they weren't shutting down opponents in the secondary. We haven't heard Brian Branch's name as much as we've heard in the past. And from a sack standpoint, it's improved. It's definitely improved. Having Aiden Hutchinson in the lineup makes other guys better.
Well, how great is it? By the way, I got to cut you off real quick because how great is it? We're talking Detroit and Mr. Motown just shows up right out of the blue. Hello there, Las Vegas, Chris. Nice guy.
Yeah, his ears were burning. His ears were burning when I was talking Lions.
You are amazing, sir. You just had to get in on your Lions.
I did it for him.
Well, there's a pretty good game going tonight, I think.
Yeah, that should be a damn good game. So what are your thoughts on the Lions and where they stand right now? We were just talking a little bit about their up and down, and every week we're not exactly sure which team we're going to get. And now injuries are certainly a factor, as they are with every team at this time of the year.
I think this is possibly one of those classic matchups where you're getting a team at its highest point and meeting a team at its lowest point.
Okay.
And I'm surprised to see Detroit moved up to 3.5 most places today.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
I'm playing both sides of the game, and I was, buying up some Dallas last night, thinking it was going to go to 2.5, and
right.
A little surprised to see the 3.5 today, but I think it's a matter of, you can't be as good as your best and you can't be as bad as your worst. And the Lions just, everything is just a downer, Lions news-wise at this point. So, my model says the Lions barely. The injuries are a big concern.
Yeah.
We don't have an update yet. It should be rolling in here soon.
On who's playing tonight, you mean?
Yeah. Have you seen
I was going to ask you, was there anything at all that you saw today that was different from yesterday? Because I haven't.
Well, I have the toilets on the background to remind me to tell everybody to get their colonoscopy so they don't have to go through the painful doctor appointments that I had today.
Okay,
so,
gotcha. That's a good thought.
Trust me, colonoscopy is far easier than anything else you'll deal with.
I just had mine a couple of months ago. Believe me, I know it well.
90 minutes before game time is the official injury report.
Right.
Renee Sewell is expected to play.
Okay. All right. Well, again, as the official Thursday Night Football pregame show, we got to get everybody up to the second on our Thursday night game. And what are your last thoughts on Dallas coming into this one, Chris?
they have all that momentum. We always say that you don't step in front of a steaming train. I'm not sure whether 3 games is considered a steaming train or not, but they're not doing it by smoke and mirrors. They're legitimately doing a great job. They filled the right holes, and they're a quality team, and they've got everything to play for. They see they see a weakness in Philadelphia. They could possibly catch them. So this is do or die for both teams. I mean, whoever loses is out of this playoffs, and that would be a colossal disaster for the Lions. There would be a huge downer for Dallas, but they weren't expected to be in this shape. So it's
right.
It's not quite as earth-shattering for them.
Yeah, and the playoff picture here in the NFC, and when you look, the last time I checked, you don't see Dallas there, but that doesn't mean they can't be there. Down the stretch here, they're in the spot they want to be, but they really dug a hole, and now let's see how long it only takes 1 or 2 injuries, as we know. But even just the fact that both of these teams are not in this picture, that's really amazing at this time of the year, especially for
the playoff leverage for this game is the Cowboys, if they win, move up to 45%.
Yeah.
And the Lions would drop to 21%. And the Lions are only at 63% with a win. So it's dire.
And look at the year that Prescott is having there behind that other guy, Drake May. Just the fact that Dak's not making mistakes and he's finding his 2 top receivers, and you don't turn the ball over, baby, and you got that kind of offense, good things are going to happen.
And one last thing I'll add is he's also number 2 or 3 in the league for most dropped balls, and Goff is either 2 or 3. So they're number 2 and 3 for receivers dropping balls.
Yeah, outstanding stat there for sure. But there's Dallas 2nd in the East, and Detroit 3rd in the North. We shall see. Should be a hell of a game tonight, really, when you think about it. Anyway, any other last thoughts on this one before we move on to the rest of the schedule?
I think Chris hinted at this in a way. You're not necessarily as great as your last 3 games if you're not, maybe you are if you're one of those great teams of all time kind of thing where you can string 7, 8, 9, 10 games together.
Right.
But this is a regression spot for Dallas. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. Makes sense. All right. The next game here, you got the Saints and the Bucks and that same old division stuff. And we've been talking about it forever, Ron. You just take 3 points, anything more than 3 in this division, almost for whatever the combination of teams are.
No, it works for the Saints and the Falcons. Doesn't always work for the Saints and the Bucks. Although the Saints have had their way coverage-wise at Tampa.
Yes.
I wouldn't run out and lay all these points with a Tampa team that, they are not a shutdown defense. If you look at the metrics defensively, there's nothing absolutely, long playoff run. It's really about Baker Mayfield and other aspects of the team. They got Bucky Irving back last week. They didn't sugarcoat his carries or anything. They put him right to the wolves. He had something like 17 carries or 19 carries last week. So they moved him right into the number 1 spot. And they remember his rookie year, how good it was. Yeah, absolutely. You have anything on this game here, Saints and Bucks, Chris?
I'm looking at the under in this game.
Okay. What is it? Is it at 42.5-ish still?
42.
42. Okay. And you're looking for 42.5. And that's for sure.
I didn't hear that Evans was back. I think he's practicing on a limited basis. This is what Birdie says. But I have a feeling it might be 1 more week.
He's got to average about 135 yards a game to keep his 1,000 yards per season streak alive, tying the record for start of career.
Yeah,
So
he
he's
did
not
it last year. Last year was the same thing, and they force fed him a bunch of stuff, even week 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's more important stuff than that record right now for the Bucks going down the stretch here. That's for damn sure. How about Cincinnati at Buffalo? What are your thoughts on a possible upset in that game with Joe Burrow all of a sudden saying, you know what, we just want to win out and see what the hell happens? Good luck with that, by the way.
Well, the Bengals' odds for making the playoffs increase 7 times if they win.
Wow.
Yeah.
It'll be up to 13%. It'll be up to 13%.
Yeah, good luck, as I said. Buffalo is it still 5.5? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. You guys interested in that game at all from a spread standpoint?
For me, too much volatility on Cincinnati's power number to really get involved. And the matchup analysis, all the 3 factors that I look at have me on the sidelines.
You, Chris?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. We talked about it yesterday that the Buffalo, if you look at the score, it looked like Buffalo, beat the crap out of Pittsburgh, but we know that Pittsburgh basically, imploded and couldn't stop an easy run play the whole game. So you can't make too much out of that Buffalo victory. And then obviously Burrow was 1 for 6 in the red zone. They weren't impressive either.
Yeah.
But you can chalk that up for just having a little bit of rust possibly, but their defense worked. But was that more on Baltimore or was that more on Cincinnati all of a sudden developing a defense? Probably a Baltimore issue. So
exactly.
The one metamorphosis that Buffalo's going through is they're a run-first team. They're only going to Allen when they have to use him. They're preserving him. They're not making him carry the weight. They're trying to run the ball. They're changing their schemes, and they would prefer to run the ball and chew up clock and just control the game. So it's a little bit of a different style for them. We know that Cincinnati and Buffalo games are known for their shootouts, but maybe this one won't be.
Yeah. How about Seattle and Atlanta, and what the Seahawks need to do down the stretch here? All locked up with the Rams atop the West and trying to show they are for real and one of the elite teams. And it's regular season, so it's all good for Sam Darnold, right, guys? No,
I'm trying to see who Seattle's next opponent is.
Ooh, okay. I don't have that in front of me. And you're thinking in what way? Like, is this a look?
I just want to make sure that they're focused on this particular game.
Yeah, I was going to say, though, this is a lousy time, week 14.
Seattle plays at home against Indy.
Okay, well, that should be a good game.
I mean, it's a good one, but it's not necessarily look ahead because it's not a divisional game.
Right,
it's
exactly.
It's not a rival that they're whatever. So I think they're focused on this. When you bet Atlanta, which you say, oh, it's over 7 points or whatever, you're betting that the coaching staff won't get in front of its own 2 feet.
Right. Okay, so are you? But it's still a lot of points to lay on the road, right?
Yeah. It wouldn't be something I would look at for Seattle, but I'd have to question myself if I want to get. I mean, I just don't trust that team to do what's right in almost any situation.
Well, the last time Seattle was a road favorite, it was against Tennessee, and we didn't have a problem laying the 13, and they realistically should have just blown them out, and they just kept, doing dumb things. It just seemed like they didn't want to score, and they let Tennessee move the ball, and Tennessee actually covered that big number when they really shouldn't have.
But that was a flat spot for Seattle. And like you said, they still could have covered. They were ahead by more than the 6-point margin, but they just came off that divisional Ram game.
Yeah, they were on 13 until like 20 seconds left in the game or 30 seconds left in the game or something.
Yeah. So,
but this is a flat spot for Seattle, and I think that Rams loss is rejuvenating for Seattle also for divisional aspirations.
Right. I'm leaning towards.
I think that's why I'm not on the game right now. And that if I could have found more of a flat spot for Seattle, I could have backed Atlanta maybe, but.
Yeah, last thing on this game, I'm leaning towards the O's on this one. I just think the circumstances are sort of a shootout type of a game, although, Seattle's defense could also maybe shut out Atlanta the way it's going. But being on the road, I got a feeling that it's going to be a little more wide open than would be if it was week 3 game.
Lost in the shuffle is that Atlanta is doing things that Atlanta has never done. They have a 41-19 sack ratio.
Wow.
41 is usually 2 seasons worth for them. And I'm not exaggerating because they've been so bad in that area. So
Right.
If you want to match up their pass rush and the defending the pass, from a sack standpoint, they're dead even with Seattle.
Okay, Steelers at the Ravens. Will the real team show up on either side? Or maybe they already have shown up and they're just not that good. Is that more likely what it is this year, guys?
I would say for Pittsburgh, it's the equilibrium, the balance is off with the Rodgers dynamic. There's just something about inserting him into a team now, not in his prime, that something's going on. And, JJ Watt, his team got run on, as Chris said yesterday, play after play after play last week they couldn't stop it. So Pittsburgh's in a funny state. And we know Baltimore's stat sheet is night and day different from what it's been the last 3 years.
Yeah, you know what Aaron would say? The last time I checked, my job is not to stop the run. So I can't blame that on me.
But these are the types of games that Pittsburgh shows up. I mean, when they're basically a cornered animal or a wounded animal at this point, coming off of one of the most embarrassing appearances that they've had, as Tomlin has been a coach. The fans are on Tomlin. They're impatient, and they're the highest paid defense in the league for several years now, playing like one of the worst. The S is hitting the fan here. It's all hands on deck. And I think we saw that Baltimore is not the Baltimore we expected. Henry's a step slower. Aaron's 42. Lamar's injured. He's had 3 different injuries: a toe, a heel, and something else. He's missed 2 days of practice this week. It's just not a good sign. And they signed Andrews to a long-term contract. You know what happens when you sign people to long-term contract. But you've got Harbaugh as coach, and he's always going to make mistakes. So this is a really goofy game. The metrics say Baltimore, but do you trust that in a divisional rivalry like this?
No, I would take 6 points in this game because I don't trust anything with Baltimore right now, and just say that Pittsburgh's going to play hard because their season's on the line.
Yeah, it's a fascinating game. I think how Henry does will dictate if Baltimore wins going away or this is a typical slugfest 1916 type game. But I have a question for Chris.
Yeah, go ahead.
And we didn't talk about this yesterday, but in terms of looking at the last 4 weeks, Baltimore's pass defense has been outstanding, actually, 51% roughly. Have you noticed an improvement in your metrics in Baltimore's defense overall?
I'm just finding that here.
Yeah, I just happened to pull that up and I said, well, wait a second. Baltimore is finally defending the pass with all their talent.
I didn't screenshot specifically on that side, but they're actually just slightly above middle of the pack defensively overall. The last 5 weeks.
Which must be, and we, I believe, had them bottom 5 the first 5 weeks or so.
Yeah, and overall for the season, let's see. They were actually second from the bottom at one time. They're up to 19th. So they had been faring well. And before last game, they had gone was it 5 or 6 games in a row where they hadn't allowed a team to score more than 20. So it was just a very, very odd game, and they had been showing, great signs of improvement on defense. And when you do stop Burrow 6 out of 7 times in the red zone, that's not a disaster.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I think that speaks to what Chris does, his trailing weeks and whatever. And then I got these things where I'm looking and I can see progress from week to week. So I could be doing a trailing 5 weeks just by the eye test and stuff like that. So We're noticing some improvement in Baltimore that's subtle that maybe other people aren't noticing. But again, I think this particular matchup, 37th or 38th time these guys are playing each other, Harbaugh and Tomlin, comes down to Derrick Henry.
We were talking about the Rams and using their 3 tight end sets. Pittsburgh's been doing the 3 tight ends also, but with no luck.
Well, they're doing it for a different reason because they do not have a number 2 wide receiver.
Exactly. That's exactly. What do you think OU on the total of carries for Henry today in this one?
We mentioned it yesterday. If he doesn't have 25, Harbaugh should be fired.
Okay.
That's what he said. That's what Chris said. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see if Harbaugh has a job the following week. Unbelievable. Another divisional matchup here coming up. Indy and Jacksonville in Florida. Your thoughts on this one? Indy's a little bit banged up. Obviously not the same team they were the first half of the season. Can they turn things around?
It's a fascinating matchup. I will say that. I make it a toss-up.
Okay. Well, so does the spread. I mean, what is it? 1.5, right?
Well, what would it be if they had a kicker? They cut their kicker Bagley. They brought in Justin Tucker and they sent him packing. It's that's got to be a little bit of a cause for concern. But I think they picked up the guy from who did he pick? The guy came from another crappy team. I forget, but Jones is not healthy, and that's allowing the defenses to, basically stunt that offense a little bit. That offense was on all cylinders until Jones got dinged up, and as long as he's dinged up, that affects Taylor's ability to break those runs. Taylor's performance, stats are down. They've lost 3 out of 4 games. I think that they're better. I don't think that they were a flash in the pan. I think they are a quality team.
Yep.
They have to win this game.
Yeah, a lot of Jonathan Taylor, though, baby. That's what I see.
And Russell says, Group A from the Saints. He's 5'7" and 156 pounds. He's bigger than you, Ron.
Well, he weighs more than me. That's for sure.
That's funny.
So, I want to apologize for one metric that I put out yesterday. And so I'm glad Russell brought this up. I had Indianapolis qualifying in a metric that was indicating over the total for this game. But actually, they don't qualify unless they're an underdog in this game, and they're not an underdog in this game. So at the current odds, 1.5, or whatever they are, there is I have nothing on the over-under in this particular game in terms of past history, tendencies, whatever. So the way it goes, that's misinformation I gave yesterday.
Okay. Let's go to the next games. And I don't know, there's a whole lot we want to talk about with all 3 of these games. Your thoughts on any of them? Because I have zero interest in all of them, to be honest.
I think the interesting one might be Washington, Minnesota, because we don't know who's quarterbacking who and how they're going to do. Now we have McCarthy, who's certainly not impressed in his rookie year, which is understandable, but is far better than what we saw last week. And then we know that Daniels is practicing, but I was under the impression that he wasn't going to play this week, but we'll see.
Well, that's another reason to hardly discuss it, because we have no idea who the quarterbacks are going to be. It could be they could bring Sonny Jurgensen back for all we know.
No, he passed away.
Well, are you sure about that?
Yes.
When did this happen?
A while ago.
I missed that. Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I liked him a lot. He was one of the faces of the team forever, and he also did their TV, I think, and radio for a long time. Anyway, that's for the old guys.
Alive. He's alive. Don't put him in the grave.
I thought he was
He's 91 and kicking.
Wait, he's supposed to be passing, not kicking.
There was a story on one of your Detroit Lions, Lem Barney. They were sad that he passed away, and they had to retract that because he's fine.
Twice in a month, the media reported he passed away, and he still hasn't.
Are you sure the media reported, or the stupid crap online where people are killing everybody ahead of time?
I think the Lions came out with a statement
that he was dead.
Yeah.
What?
They mourned the passing.
Well, that's not media. The media is just reporting what they're told.
Anyway, from what I just quickly looked up, Sonny Jurgensen is 91.
Sonny, good to have you back, buddy.
So he can play.
He's available. He's in better shape than Jaden Daniels this week. How about Denver at the Raiders? You just take care of biz there, Broncos, and just don't do anything stupid.
Well, they had a scintillating 10-7 game earlier, so the Raiders think they can match up with them.
Yeah. Are you guys doing anything at all with that game whatsoever? I mean, just the fact that the Broncos are only 7.5-point favorites, where they are in the standings and where they are overall the way they've played, they should be double-digit favorites.
I don't think they're, they almost paid the price for playing with their food the last time these two teams met,
Yeah, no, I get it.
And I don't think Denver's going to give them the satisfaction. I think they're going to want to put them out.
The Raiders' style of play, and I know some of it was a problem with Chip Kelly and whatever, but then last week they had a different coordinator, and you thought, well, they're going to mix it up, and they didn't mix it up at all. Right. So, I mean, they're not running at all. Genty, we don't know whether he's the real deal or not the real deal. It could be the Raiders' offensive line and scheme, or it could be he's not quick enough. We don't know. All I know is that there's nothing exciting about their offense.
One of the real briefly about the Raiders, I talked to a couple of their people last week when they were here in town, and with the Genty stuff, a lot of that they're saying is the offense. And then, obviously they got rid of Chip Kelly. So now is the new guy going to change things up? But the O-line is not doing what they need to do. And they're not setting him up to be successful. So, but he may not be the guy they want him to be either. He's not just going to, bowl over people in the NFL.
I had the Charger radio station on the late part of that game last week because we were driving.
Right.
And the Chargers were just gushing over one of the touchdown catch that Brock Bowers made.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
And so if they don't have Brock Bowers, they score even fewer points.
Oh, if they don't have Brock Bowers, they might not win a game this year. I'm not kidding. It's that bad. So, remember the first time they played in LA this past year, I was joking. Everybody said, Brock Bowers, how good is he? And I said, he will have 15 targets in this game. You watch. And he had like 8 in the first quarter or something. It was crazy. Anyway, so enough on that one. The Rams at Arizona, this is a huge game for the Rams to turn back and off the loss and just say, okay, we need to forget about it. Everything's good. And again, it comes down to mistakes, right? If they don't turn the ball over 3 times last week, they probably win there.
Well, there's something about Carolina.
What's cause for concern is that secondary. If Bryce Young can chop up that secondary, what's Brissett going to be able to do?
Yeah. You guys interested in the spread at all? It's 7.5.
It would have to be higher for me to be interested.
Okay.
Arizona to me is like Atlanta. They can't get out of their own coaching way.
Right. Okay. And how about the Bears and the Packers? This goes back longer than all three of our years put together, which is not easy. How about what the Bears are doing, and are they for real? If they win this game, you have to say they are.
No, I think that the three of us are older than the number of times they played. I think they're at 143, aren't they?
Okay, well, geez, we're in big trouble.
That sounds like a low number. Interesting.
I thought you had to add Sonny Jurgensen's age to us to get that. What about the spread here, boys? 6.5, and Jordan Love against. Does he own the Bears? I know he owns Thanksgiving, and he's all over the turkey on that day here.
Go for it.
What do you think of the matchup there?
I think it's a darn good matchup, and I'm surprised the line is so high, but it actually belongs up there. You know, I didn't realize the Bears were the number 2 rushing offense in the league. That's their identity. It's not Caleb.
Yeah.
Let's see, 140.
What would you have it at, Ron?
The Bears and the Packers have played 210 times.
Ooh, okay. We need to add our score.
It's off. We need to get them a couple more games, I think.
Okay. Well, Sonny Jurgensen, glad you're alive, baby. You're in on this. We got the overs now.
It's a fascinating game. It's an incredibly important game because I really don't know if Chicago, Green Bay, and Detroit can make the playoffs because you got San Francisco in their 4th place schedule, Seattle and the Rams to deal with. 6 teams, and you can't get all 6 in the playoffs.
But do you
imagine if you're the Bears and you miss the playoffs from here being the 1 seed?
How's the weather supposed to be in Lambeau? I forgot to look.
Real cold. My sister, who's going to that game? Oh, my nephew's going to that game. Cold.
Okay. So that's still, it seems like a lot, even though it's the right number as far as you're concerned, it's a lot of points when, do you really trust the Packers offense and now in the cold as well?
Do you know, take a wild guess
what
Green Bay's success rate is at 3rd and 7 or longer?
I have no idea.
What would be a good?
It's going to be real high or real low. So I'll say 39%.
46%.
Yeah, that's high.
That's insanity.
Wow, that really is. Okay, well, credit to the O-line as well over there. They're playing better than I thought they would this year.
It's going to be O-lines. It's going to be 15 to 20 degrees.
Okay. Wind?
Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of wind.
Okay. I would take the points any way you look at it. I just think it's too many points. And
yeah, I am not involved in this. Green Bay usually has a December home field advantage, but not against Chicago. I mean, Chicago plays in the same weather as Green Bay. Some of the opponents they've lined up against in December really are at a disadvantage, but not this year, actually, for Green Bay.
Yeah. We only got a couple of games left here and a couple of minutes left. How about the Texans at the Chiefs? Can the Chiefs win out, boys? Because they have to.
They are in trouble because they don't have the tiebreaker against any of the 3 teams they're competing against.
Right.
They're facing the number 1 defense in the NFL with potentially, I don't know the status of 3 offensive linemen for Kansas City. Are they in or are they out?
Okay. Well, we're not going to know for a couple of days, maybe, right? Bottom line, this is the night game change anything for you on this at all?
I don't think so. Not for me.
Okay.
I will say that one of the things Houston has to overcome is that they have not gotten within 9 points. The last 2 games they lost by 9. Chris and I discussed that. They're, even for me, who wouldn't talk about refs very much, Houston really got screwed versus the refs that last time. There were a lot of things left on the table there where Houston could have competed. But Houston has to figure out a way to beat this team. And this might be their best chance, but they have to get over that hump.
How's the weather supposed to be there, guys? Any idea?
I mean, let's not forget the last time they played, it was in the playoffs. Houston had huge injury concerns. They were missing who was the stud receiver, I forget, and the refs really jobbed them too.
And KC had 2 weeks to prep. Most likely, if I remember.
But anything over a field goal in this game, isn't that on the tempting side, Ron?
No. I'm not going to back Houston in this game, actually.
What? Because of your numbers?
Well, I mean, my numbers are pretty much where they need to be. I just think that Houston has to get over the hump of doing this. We discussed this yesterday. Pat Mahomes is having a better year this year than last year. He has the receivers. Pacheco and company have some game experience now under their belt from his injury.
Right.
I think this is the kind of you need a really efficient offense to penetrate against Houston.
Yeah.
And there aren't that many teams that have that, but I think Kansas City has that. What we don't know is CJ Stroud. Okay, he had an efficient game. I mean, they didn't score a lot of points against Indy, did they? They scored 20 points.
Yeah, exactly.
So, he's got to be a little bit better. I even heard one of the field goals made it or didn't make it. There was some controversy on something like that. But basically, I'm worried about Houston's offense, believe it or not, in this game.
I am too. Although I love this being a standalone game. There's something I like having these two teams in the spotlight and like, hey, go for it, guys, because it's huge for both sides.
I like watching Houston play because they're fundamentally sound.
Yeah, exactly. And we talked something about it earlier, Chris, but before we wrap up this show, Monday night game, Eagles at the Chargers. I will be there. Just your overall thoughts on that game.
Well, they announced Carter's going to be out for Philadelphia this morning. That moved the line down to 2.5.
Okay.
I just saw a photo of Herbert. He's out there practicing. An update, Daniels for Washington was a full participant.
Right.
But, an interesting, I heard Greg Cosell talking about the Chargers this morning, and he mentioned something because Colin brought up, how do they do it? They always have these injuries and they're filling these gaps. And he's like, well, the talent that they have is unusual because there are so many players that can play multiple positions. And they're constantly switching them around. If they're healthy, then they're switching them all around and they're confusing. And if they're injured and required to fill gaps, well, they already had the experience. So it really gives them a leg up because they're coached so well and they're so well prepared. I think I don't understand why Philadelphia is favored in this game. I'll just put it at that.
Okay. Of course, we don't really know what's going to go on until we know for sure about Herbert. And we may not know till Monday on that one. We have less than a minute left, but I got to bring this up, guys. Everybody saw it. It's the kick that never was last week. Young Wei Koo is now Old Wei Koo after this baby. What are your thoughts? I talked to Josh Carty about this. A fascinating discussion. Maybe we'll get into that another time. Have you ever seen anything like this before at any level, including the 10-year-olds?
I've seen it in college.
Really, where he kicked dirt only?
Yeah, I've seen guys completely miss on kicks.
Okay.
Here's they just moved the total up on tonight's game.
Okay.
So as high as 55.5.
Wow.
Doesn't that seem high?
Yeah, it would be higher than I said it lower than that, but my totals, I expect my totals not to be better than the odds makers unless I have situations going. So I would rather trust the odds makers on totals than mine.
Breaking news. It's in the dome, so they just figured it out and they moved it up a point.
Well, we did talk about longest field goal yesterday, so we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, really. All right, we got to let Ron go, and Chris, I know you got more important stuff than looking at me all day. So great show, guys. Week 14 is getting ready to go in the books, and let's have some fun.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Good luck, everybody.